Praise the Lord, saints. This is Elder Adrian Heyman, and I'm going to speak a little bit about a subject that I guess I've went through things like, what do you call it, eschatology. I spoke of hell, but I really haven't spoken of the place that we are striving to get to, and that is, of course, heaven. There's so much bad news that we go through and we vision and we see that we sometimes forget that what's waiting for us is even more than what we could imagine. Paul talks about it, says he went up to the third heaven. There were things that he said he couldn't even find the words to utter. He said it was unlawful to utter these things. He couldn't find a way to describe it. And then John, even in a vision, it was so fantastic that he was just left floored at the end of all this. So heaven has got to be a wonderful place to be in. But we act as though we can wait for it. Now, I'm not saying we should all go and commit mass suicide because to go to heaven. There's some work we have to do down here. But to understand that after our job is done, I call it a retirement plan. And a retirement plan, of course, is out of this world. Heaven is, first of all, it's where God is. Not necessarily that God is only there, but that's his seat of his power. He rules from heaven. He rules from heaven. And to me, any place where God is, it's got to be, it has to be a pretty fantastic place. Think about it. Jesus talks about it. Says the kingdom of heaven. Paul talks about it. Even Paul said, I would rather to be absent from the body, but present with the Lord. And heaven must be a pretty exciting place. I'm going to get on, probably do this in a series of lessons. Even though heaven is hard to describe, it's enough of it there that we should be just clamoring to get there. As John said, that we are purifying ourselves constantly so we can make sure that we can get there. It's excitement. I mean, you ever thought about, and I remember when I was a kid, and I relayed this before, but it's still valid. There's this place, Six Flags Magic Mountain. And I always wanted to go there. Didn't always have the money to go, but always wanted to go. And if someone said, I'm taking you and you and you to Magic Mountain, we were excited that the night before we could barely sleep. We gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. Because we knew it was just going to be excitement, all these rides and all these thrillers and everything else. It was just fantastic for us to go there. We wanted to go there. Hey, Sister Heyman, how you doing? And we just couldn't wait. That, to me, is how we should react when someone mentions heaven. And be honest, let me kind of back away for a little bit. Heaven is actually not going to be our eternal home. What? You must be kidding. Oh, no, don't we all want to go to heaven? Yeah, of course we do. But that's not going to be our eternal home. What is going to be our eternal home is a place known as New Jerusalem. Now, they say there will be new heavens and a new earth, but let's do this first. Let's kind of understand the different types of heaven so we are on one track. So we understand what I'm talking about when we're talking about heaven. In the Bible, there are the heavens, and it's not talking about, even though it looks like that God may dwell there, we look up in the sky, clouds go through. No, that's just the sky. Some call it the firmament. The birds fly around the heavens. The planes fly through the heavens. That's the atmosphere. That essentially is not where God's power is centralized. And so you go all the way around this planet. You will not find God's seat of power there. You won't find his throne there. So that's essentially is the heaven that that surround the earth. And of course, the sun seems to be in it, although it's many millions of miles away. The moon seems to be in it, although it's some thousands of miles away. So you understand that the first heaven, the heaven that surrounds the earth, that we call the sky, that's not where we're going to be living. We're not going to be living on a cloud. We're not going to be in a place where the clouds are like the sidewalk or the cement or something like that. Then there's going to be a gate in between clouds. That's not quite how it's going to be like. It's how it's depicted in many places, definitely on cartoons, but not where we're looking at. So that's not the heaven that we're talking about here. Then there are some that some call the celestial heavens. That essentially is where all of our planets, stars, different heavenly bodies, call it heavenly bodies because they are in the heavens, but not heaven itself. So, and understand the celestial heavens, that's not heaven itself. That's the place where, see, what happened was we as short-sighted creatures tended to label heavens any place where we couldn't get to. So if it was the sky and the clouds and so on, we couldn't get to the clouds, at least not in those days. So to us, they might as well be heavens. Said, and Jesus was taken up into heaven. He was taken up into the heavens. The cloud received him out of their sight. But you're not going to see Jesus standing or sitting down among a row of clouds. That's how we picture it. But that's not what the Bible talks about. Heavens. The earthly heavens, then we got the celestial heavens. Those are probably even more magnificent because you're dealing with galaxies, stars, neutron stars, comets, nebula, black holes, giant, supergiant stars, and all the things that essentially that God has control over. And as we go further and further and further into the celestial heavens, we find out that God rules them all. And we start to really drop our jaws at, you rule that, God? My Lord. Yes, he does. He rules all of that. Well, what about other people and other planets? You know what? There may be intelligent life on other. I won't say they're not. I don't know. As far as we know, space goes on for eternity. There has to be a limit, maybe, but it's too far for us to know. But it's not too far for God to know. And if there's intelligent life on some other place, maybe God's dealing with them as well. Who knows? All I know is about my own planet, planet Earth, the one I was born on. And according to what I see, the celestial heavens are beyond my imagination. I'll give you also, there are 2 spaceships that were launched, I believe, in the early 70s, Voyager 1 and Voyager 2. And these were sent out to explore the various planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. And they did their job. And they're still going and going and going. And they're outside of the solar system proper, but they're in a place called the Kuiper Belt, a place where different bodies of material are there. Some of them go out of that place as comets. Comets originate from that particular area on their long journey towards the sun. And then they go back into the dark reaches of the Kuiper Belt. And these spaceships are still going and still going and still going. And the fact that they maybe have traveled 1 light year. Maybe they traveled 1. I don't even think they traveled that far yet. And to think that the universe is billions upon billions of light years across. As far as we could tell, we don't know how much further it goes. That should show you the majesty of God's creation. How the Lord keeps track of all these things. Some of these things which break our very essence of physical laws. Black holes that of unimaginable pull and weight. So much of their material into a space you can't even detect it. How could that happen? According to science, that could never take place because that means that gravity is infinity. But God made it. But that's not the heaven that God's talking about. So we got the terrestrial heaven next to the earth, the sun, not the sun, but the sky, the clouds, and where the weather takes place, the birds fly through it, and so on. Then we have the celestial heavens, where the planets are, where the stars are, where the constellations dwell, the galaxies are. And then beyond that is the third heaven. That appears to be the place where sits the throne of the very God we worship. The third heaven. In other words, I want you to think about this for a moment. When we are translated, it says it will happen in the moment, in the twinkling of an eye. The dead in Christ shall rise first, and then they which are alive and remain shall be caught up to meet us together. Happens in a matter of undivisible moments. indivisible moments. And then from there, we make it to the third heaven. So either one of two things. One of two things. Number one, third heaven is so far away that we are on the outskirts of the universe. But yet, it's a possibility that is not that far, but we can't get to it because we are not spiritual beings. That could be too. Maybe it's a combination of the two. In any case, it is something that you can't just stumble upon. No one can be like Christopher Columbus. Oh, I discovered heaven. No, that's not going to happen. You have to have a purpose to get there and a life that says that you are striving to be there and the grace of God that puts you there. But it's been promised to us, saints of God. Don't you want to see it? Now, what was I talking about regarding the new heavens and new earth? It's like a new sky, as well as a new place of dwelling. But remember, now our bodies are spiritual. And we can go to and fro, to and from the presence of the Almighty God. That should tell us, Brother Robert, good to see you, man. I was just talking about heaven. And I say I'm glad that you're on. Because you know what? This is the time for rejoicing. Because maybe we haven't made it yet. You haven't made it yet. But your brother's there, man. Your brother's there. He's in heaven and no one can take him away. He's there. He is there. My Lord. That's the one thing that the death of the saints have over anything else. They're right in the presence of the Lord, which means that they are in line to receive what we will someday, and that is the keys to our own mansion in New Jerusalem. Don't know how it is right now, but I'm sure it's glorious. And greater thrills await us. As I said, we're not here to commit suicide. We're not. We're here to work. But it's so good to know that once we finish our trip here, our time here, we are going to be in a place that is so fantastic. No one could think that you were even making sense. Heaven doesn't make sense. It's not supposed to make sense. That's the thing. So you wonder why I teach like this. You wonder why I do my sessions. You wonder why I write my books. You wonder why I live this life. It's because God has promised me that if I live right, that if I walk right, that if I talk right, heaven belongs to me. God bless you and may He keep you. Keep on going, saints. Let's help to make heaven a reality for us. Love you all in Jesus' name.